Now go. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's call this meeting to order. It's 1:38 on October 9th. I would like to start by taking roll.
Okay. Director King,
Here.
Director Neal,
Present.
Director Zarelli, and Chair Seward.
Present. All right, all accounted for. Let's move on to approval of the minutes from July 10th, 2025. Are there any questions? Hearing none. Is there a motion to accept the minutes from July 10th, 2025?
Also move.
Do I have a second?
Zarelli
second.
seconded.
2 seconds.
Okay.
I like everybody's jumping in. I love the participation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Or do we need to take like specific roll, or
Yeah,
does it
do I
matter?
have to do a roll?
Okay.
I think in this circumstance, since it's the first substantive vote of the meeting, we should do a roll call.
Okay. Director King,
Aye.
Director Neal,
Present. I'm sorry, aye.
Director Zarelli, and Chair Seward.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, the ayes have it. We have two resolutions up for today. The first is the inducement resolution for Roosevelt Townhomes. Michelle, take it away.
Thank you. As stated, this project is the Roosevelt Town Apartments. This is the inducement resolution. So this is just the initial approval. It will be brought back before the board for final approval at a later time. And these are for multifamily housing revenue bonds. The bond amount is up to $43 million, and this is to finance a portion of the costs of the acquisition and rehabilitation of 154 multifamily housing units located at 711 North Euclid Avenue. And the total project cost will be $69,488,853. Additional public assistance is in the form of low-income housing tax credits. The project will also be assuming some existing MHDC debt, and that's the Missouri Housing Development Commission. An application for the LIHTC credits was submitted back in September to MHDC. And at this time, an application for tax abatement has not been submitted. SLDC has received a letter of support from 10th Ward Alderwoman Shamim Clark Hubbard. The developer is Roosevelt Town Developers LLC, who are also the borrower. The property manager is Wynn Companies. Bond counsel is Waylon Watson of Gilmore and Bell. And these bonds are expected to be directly placed with a bank purchaser to be identified at a later time. Bonds for the apartments were originally issued in February 2004 through the IDA. These bonds were paid off and unwound in July of 2018. The Roosevelt Town Apartments is a 154-unit Section 8 multifamily housing development comprised of an 8-story building. All units will be affordable and target households earning less than 60% of the AMI. The property was damaged by the May 2025 tornado, which rendered it uninhabitable and in need of substantial rehabilitation. More than 100 residents have been temporarily displaced due to the storm. It contains 135 one-bedroom units and 19 two-bedroom units. Renovation upgrades include new kitchens and baths, interior finishes, accessible paths, mechanical systems, and common area amenities. The renovations are estimated to be $203,000 per unit. And the resolution is attached for your consideration. And we have staff from Gilmore and Bell, Waylon Watson and Bill Burns are both on the call for any questions.
Is there any casualty or any insurance proceeds that they're gonna receive from the damage of the tornado?
Director Zarelli, you gotta speak into the mic or they can't hear you.
Is there any insurance proceeds that they will receive from the damage? That was a project insured? I guess nobody's on from the project.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was having trouble getting my audio and video to work. I can't say for sure. I thought the developer was going to be joining us today to answer some of those questions. I believe from my discussions with them, my understanding is that they are currently working on insurance claims to sort of preserve the property as best they can, given the damage it's sustained. And part of the reason they're actually pursuing this inducement so early before they've gotten MHDC approval is because they're already incurring costs that would potentially qualify for reimbursement from bond proceeds. So they're trying to make sure that they preserve those costs for down the road for reimbursement in the event that they, assuming they do get their approval for MHDC credits and are ultimately able to move forward with and close the bond financing.
Okay, thank you.
And I might have missed this when Michelle was giving the introduction, but do you know the extent of the damage to the building in terms of cost?
I do not personally know. I'm not familiar with their situation and the status of, exactly how bad the damage to the building is or what that cost is looking like at this point.
As part of the application, there were pictures provided of some of the common areas that had extensive water damage, which then I'm sure were in many of the units as well. So there was photographic evidence provided to the IDA of the damage.
Yeah.
Before and afters.
Any other questions from the board?
When did they expect to have this project completed? I know that's gonna be, probably this is just initial, but are they gonna try to get this done in 2026? Like everybody else has said they're gonna try to get done? No developer, I guess that we're not sure.
Yeah, with no developer being on, I don't know that we know the answer to that. And I'm guessing it depends on a lot of factors that are sort of unknown right now. First, if they get approval from MHDC, and assuming they do, sort of depends on how long it takes MHDC to underwrite and issue the necessary documentation that they need on their side in order to close on the financing and the tax credits, which are all, I think, just complete guesses at this point.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions?
It looks like we do have someone from the developer who just joined in the attendees list. So Liz, could you move DGX over?
All right. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Are you the developer?
Yeah, sorry. This is very last. I don't know why this wasn't not on my calendar, so apologies for that. I assume we're talking about Roosevelt Townhomes.
We are.
Yeah, sorry. Yes. We're the co-developer. Yes.
And there were a couple of questions posed that your counsel was unable to answer. And so, Sean, did you want to restate yours?
Well, since this is the initial, I was just curious on how long this project's gonna last. I mean, when will it be completed? Estimate.
Since yeah, okay. Let me give maybe a little bit longer. So we are applying for state credits, and with that, the timeline is award is in December, and usually it takes good 9 months then to close. So we're doing a project like this right now in Kansas City. So I would say the timeline is the fourth quarter of 2026 to get to the actual closing and start construction. And then the construction will go through, because this is an elaborate project, I would say we should assume construction goes through the end of 2027. This
Thank
is a
you.
big rehab. I mean, the building's pretty much gutted out, so it will be a big project.
Which kind of leads right into the question that I had, which was, do you understand or know the extent in terms of cost of the damage due to the tornado on May 16th of this year?
It's the short answer is not fully, because we're working through this with insurance and the contractors, and what there's a delineation of kind of what is due to tornado, what's considered it's a depreciated kind of value of certain parts. So it's elaborate, let's put it this way.
Sure.
What we have been doing until now, and we're several $1 million into this already, we have been doing the demo that's been associated with the damage. And so, there's actually extensive work being done at the property as part of the insurance component, because all the fire sprinklers were set off and everything. So basically, a majority of the building was had water damage, extensive water damage. So we've had a crew there of over 10 people just doing all the kind of demolition of the stuff that cannot be saved.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve Resolution 25 IDA 10?
So moved.
May I have a second?
I second.
Okay. Director King,
Aye.
Director Neal,
Aye.
Director Zarelli, and Chair Seward.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you very much, and stay tuned, because this will be a big one. It will take us a while to get to the promised land, but we're super excited. And I don't know if you know about this or not, but to get us to even this point, this is what's called BBRA project, and we've been waiting for HUD to basically have the funding for us to do what we need to do here for the last several years. And as much as it's painful, we got that funding approved, and now we can move forward. So I feel to some extent we're a little bit lucky here too. So,
Well, good luck to you.
all right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. And so then the second resolution up for discussion is our budget for fiscal year 2026. I don't know who's on here to discuss that with us.
Here we go.
There
So
he is.
the resolution IDA 2511 is for the, as you said, for the fiscal year budget 2026. That budget covers July 1 of 25 through June 30th of 26. It's attached here, both this IDAs and the SLDC budget is attached. It is the annual appropriation. So this board makes an appropriation to the St. Louis Development Corporation. It's in accordance with the administrative agreement that's signed every 5 years. This year, the staff is recommending an amount of $450,000. That is up from last year. I came a little prepared based on last year's questions. That $450,000, just some of the things that it will cover that this board pays to the St. Louis Development Corporation. It'll pay for the operation, or part of the operation of the real estate group. That's the maintenance and the marketing of the 10,000 or so parcels that we have in our inventory. It's the operation of the Certify STL and the MWBE program, certification program. It's the operation of the Business Assistance Center over at City Hall. It will house and help house and pay for the city council that we have on staff here. It'll also help pay for the operation of the incentive business department run by Zach Wilson. It also, Rob Orr's department of the major projects people. It'll help. Now, of course, this isn't 100%, but it does, that 450 does go to help pay for that. And it'll help pay for my group, finance group, and some administrative overhead staff. So those are the things that this board will help fund the SLDC SLDC organization. And it is my recommendation, the staff's recommendation of that 450 be approved by you all.
Questions? So I know I probably asked this in years past, but what is is there like a formula for how you get to that number? Or
Well,
is it just,
not specifically for the IDA, but we work into it. If you look at the SLDC budget, so you look at the agencies that contribute. In the years past for the IDA, it's been as low as $50,000. It's been as high as $400,000. So there, I can't give you a staff member or a specific cost by cost, but I can tell you that it works into the overall budget. That 15,463, the 450 is the amount that we as a staff felt we could contribute. If you look, I'll be showing you the financial statement in just a second here. But right now, as we sit, this board has $778,000 of cash. So even if I'd pay the payment today, I'd still have plenty of funds to operate during the year. And really our only cost, this board's only cost, is the administrative fee that we pay to St. Louis Development Corporation.
Can I?
I appreciate the added information, but I think a little more clarification on how that number, I think you say the staff, last time we were told, and I made it in my notes that we're dictated from the SLDC, here's what we're supposed to pay as our portion. And I can understand that we're paying for expenses, but there's not a pro rata, there's not a percentage, there's not of each one of these. This is just recalculated every year for the budget on who has money in their checkbooks. And if you have enough money, you send in this amount. Is that where the staff kind of breaks that down?
Can I comment?
Please.
This is Otis Williams with SLDC and the executive director, I guess, for IDA.
Yes.
But your thought there is, yes, what we, let's go back and just a little bit of the history, which is how the Economic Development Council was formed back in 1988, which was to bring all of these disparate boards together under one management structure. And so over the years, each of the boards have had some good years and some have had bad years. And so those that have good years have been able to carry the costs for those that have not. And so predominantly most of the years, IDA has not had the ability to contribute at the level that LCRA or PIEA or Port Authority have been able to contribute. So it just so happens at this point, as they are looking at the total expenses required to have the company operate, they do look at the balance sheets of each of these organizations and the ability to contribute based on the programs that have been adjudicated or executed over the year. So it is not a percentage each year, but it is an evaluation by the finance department and us to look at the capability or the availability of funds to be able to get us to a budget number to manage for all of the personnel and programs that are available for us to execute. And so it is not a percentage that is known prior to each year, but an evaluation of the balance sheet of each of these organizations that are the oversight of the SLDC.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, but could you explain who they are that come up with it? Is it the finance chair, or is it the board at the SLDC that takes a recommendation, or is it, who comes up with that number?
So I believe that the number that you're looking at there each year is a discussion between the finance department. Both Chris is involved in that, as well as Charlie and the COO for SLDC and myself. We look at that and then make an evaluation and bring the recommendations to the board.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay, hearing none. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution 25 IDA 11 for the fiscal year 2026 budget?
So moved.
Is there a second? Don't be shy.
Or then are there other questions that will help us get
Yeah.
to a second, because we do need to, in order for the operation and for the whole economic development function to operate, we do need to have the contribution from the board if possible. So if there are questions that provides for the uncertainty or lack of approval, we can try and answer that.
I guess my personal hesitation is, and this can be, I guess, turned into a question, but my personal hesitation is being told what we have to put in as a board each year with really, maybe we do, maybe we don't, maybe I just don't know this as being a newer board member, but without any say of what the budget looks like overall to the SLDC.
Well, actually, you do, through your board chair, participate in the overall SLDC board, and that then is briefed to the automatic board, and that's done back in June timeframe, with the anticipation that we will then ultimately get approval from each of the boards, which we have historically from each of the boards throughout the years. So it's, I think it's sort of felt that for you, for each board to make a determination without having the view of the entirety of the budget process sometimes is very difficult, which is why I think we have used or have included the board, in this case, the IDA chair, as part of that discussion with the full SLDC board. So each board has historically voted to approve this, and so thus far we have taken it to all of the other boards, and so we were hoping that this board would approve it.
Can I ask another question? This budget is from July 1 of 2025. Why wasn't it presented before July 1st?
We haven't, we only met, I think, in July. We didn't meet in August, and the budget had not been presented to the St. Louis Development Corporation Board. So we wanted to get the overall approval first.
Been doing the last July, August, September, using this budget that hasn't been approved?
we haven't done any, if you, the financial that I presented to you, if you look down there, you'll see that I didn't take anything out of the, I have a zero there.
Thank you.
And sorry, just to jump in here because he said before July. So I know we had a couple of meetings before July. I guess was the budget not prepared? Are we not prepared to present it to us before July? I mean, because technically, I mean, we've been in this fiscal year now for 3 months.
Yeah.
And you've been operating without a budget, so or an approved budget. So it's just, is this how again? And that's my second or third year here now, but is this just how kind of the cadence of when the budgets kind of get to us? To push his question a little further.
So we want to take a moment here and allow our CFO, Charlie Hahn, to maybe make a comment about it as well.
Sure.
The budget itself, it was approved by SLDC in July, which is a month late. We like to do it in June, even if we're on schedule, really on schedule in May. There was a lot of missing components in May. In June, I had scheduled a vacation, so it's one of those years where it got delayed till July. All the other boards approved their budgets July and I think in August, with the exception of the Port Authority, which is part of the city budget, and that went in March or April. So yeah, we're not real proud of that. We're going to try to get it back on schedule when we do the FY27 budget, but that's pretty much the reason.
Gotcha. There are a few things happening in May that threw folks off, so I understand that. Okay, any other questions from the board? Let's try that motion again. Can I get a motion to accept Resolution 25 IDA 11 for fiscal year 2026 budget?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second with hesitancy.
Okay. Director King?
Aye, with hesitancy.
Okay. Director Neal?
Aye.
Director Zarelli? And Chair Seward?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right.
Well, can I comment and just make sure that everyone, I think this probably says that we probably need to have a session with each one of the boards that you fully understand how these are integrated. And probably one of the things that we will do is share the audit with each of you so that you also see how that outcome is. It is always shared with the chair of each board because they make up the SLDC board. And so this is one where we surely do need to be sure there's transparency so that you have full faith that we are, in fact, trying to integrate all of the assets that we have. And so the only way the full organization SLDC operates is that each one bring the value that they can each year. And so neither of these organizations provide the same income each year. So it's very difficult to then project that we will take only 10% from this one and 25 from that one or whatever. We take a look at what the balances are for the most part at a set time to see, okay, the need for this organization to be able to, for both personnel and programs that have been approved is X. And so we decide that we can try and figure out how to get to that balance to move forward, which has been historically the way that it has occurred. But needing more definition to that, we'd be happy to have those discussions. And so questions that are been asked today will help us inform you in the future about it.
This may be a dumb question, but why do we even have separate budgets?
Because
Could
on
you,
its
could you
own,
repeat the question? I couldn't hear it. I'm sorry.
the question was, why do we have separate budgets? Let me indicate that each organization standing on its own would require an administrative staff and a budget person and just the ability to exist, if you will. And so when it was determined that it would be better to combine all of the organizations into what we now call SLDC, it was first decided in 1988 by then Mayor Shamel, who formed the Economic Development Corporation, which is very similar to where all major cities now operate in their economic development function. So all of the statutory agencies, that includes IDA, but it also includes LRA and all of those that were brought together, LCRA, all of those were brought together for efficiency and budget. And so it has stood us in good stead because neither of those have now had to have separate offices, which they did back before 1988. There was an office for LCRA, an office for LRA, and each of them came with their administrative staff. So the economic development function has evolved over the years such that it was more efficient to have it come together this way. But it also was evident that neither of these offices, probably with the exception of the Port Authority and LCRA, could operate on its own. So combining assets and budgets has been the better way to go. And so taking all those years that IDA only contributed $50,000 to our budget were a benefit to the IDA, primarily because you had not generated enough income to be able to do otherwise. And so now that there has been income generated and some of the other agencies are lower in income, it was thought to be able to share. And that's why the organization is together as it is, such that decisions could be made for the good of the whole in the economic development function.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think there's an issue with the structure. I think for us, or at least for me, I'll speak for myself, it was more, you know, as you kind of talked about the transparency into how the decision is made. You know, is there potentially a better way to, you know, get to that number, or at least, you know, if there's maybe, you know, two board members sit on sit in with the finance committee or something where, you know, so we just have greater insight into how that decision is made. I think that's where the lack of comfort, I think, lies, at least for me, because I think there should be some ability to track, understanding, you know, there are going to be lean years and not so lean years, depending on which agency you're with. But just to have a greater insight, and, you know, so it doesn't look like, you know, just 1 year is 250 and then, you know, you're almost, you know, 100% or 20% increase into what's going on. It's a little, don't think you're doing anything wrong, but it's a little shocking. So just the transparency, as you discussed, Mr. Williams, I think is what's looked for here.
We will look at that as we go forward, for sure.
Appreciate it. Open agenda. I don't know if there are other items to discuss before the board.
Just that the financial statements, you did email those financials. There should be financial statements in your email. Just a picture of where we're at right here at September 30th. As I said, our fund balance is largest that I've seen it in 36 years at almost $800,000. I did not take the liberty of putting anything in there in that fund balance transfer until the board approved. You will see a number in there next month. and there's no outstanding payables. It's all in cash. So we are able to meet the commitment that you made today, and we'll be able to make the commitment that you make next year.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. I know we had a tentative executive session. Is that something that we're going to have here? Or is that offline?
No, I don't think we need to go to executive session this meeting.
Okay. Okay. If are there any other business matters to discuss? Okay. Hearing none. Move to adjourn. Is there a
So
motion
moved.
to adjourn? All right. Thank you.
Second.
Is there a second? All right. You guys have a great day.
You
Take
too.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.